I am the chosen one of my own divinity. We are all the chosen ones of our own divinity.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Orphic. My name is Alyssa. I'm an astrophysicist. I just got my PhD. Well, not just. I got it like almost a year ago. I'm interested in understanding the consciousness of astrophysics, so the energetics of the universe and how souls are incorporated into astrophysics and all of these astrophysical phenomena and celestial bodies. They all have souls. And so I want to figure out the underlying spirituality of the universe and how that fits into all the things that I've already learned. So please give me a follow on Instagram at interdimensional.astrophysics. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Mikayla with Mariposa Moonchild on Instagram, so please go follow me there. I'm a spiritual guide and energy worker, focusing in shadow alchemy, so shadow work, and attunement work through energy medicine. And part of my mission is to activate the ripple effect of healing within humanity and across the collective and throughout the planet. When we heal ourselves, heal our hearts, we send out ripples into the quantum field, affecting everything around us and creating that shift. And I'm moving into a place of living a more heart-centered life and want to also bring that energy to the planet and the collective as we heal ourselves and journey along that healing path, on our loving path, so that we can send those ripple effects across the planet and heal the planet and heal humanity, and live in harmony with one another and the planet.
Yeah, and it's like, because the heart is a portal, the way that I see it is almost like our heart space is almost overlapping with everyone else's and the heart center of the earth. So that's the way that I see it in terms of like the quantum entanglement, and in terms of why our hearts and healing ourselves would also have an effect on others, in addition to like the ripple effect and rippling out. I don't know, just wanted to add that.
No, it's cool. I mean,
it's like we're all overlapping is the way that I see it.
Well, and we talk about with energy and souls, and all the souls having different chakras, or the bodies or the vessels, right? So we have the chakras, and we've talked about how Earth has chakras, the sun, all of that kind of stuff. So we all have then our heart chakra, our heart. So like there's the Earth's heart, like Gaia's heart, as well as there's like the cosmic heart, and those can all be connected. So it's been really interesting, because in my work lately, I've been bringing through light transmissions and light codes from the higher dimensions, and been coding them and bringing them down into Earth and into my body. And when I sit with Mother Earth in the morning and ask her, and I'm bringing them in, it's like my heart is connected to her heart, and then they come down through the heart. So
that's that's totally the way that I see it too. Yeah, because it's like the portal nature of the heart is the reason I feel like that it's this overlap, it's this connection. Yeah,
and cool. And our heart is, I don't know, what's our heart? I was just thinking there's this like,
well, it's where the central generation point of our electromagnetic field. So it's where everything has to flow through the heart. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the meme of it's like a video of this like little boy and these two little girls, and they're like arguing about if it's raining or sprinkling outside?
No.
I'll have to send it to you. It's so cute. They're so little. And he's like, my mom says it's sprinkling. And the twin girls are like, it's raining. My mom says it's raining. He's like, no, it's not. It's sprinkling. And the little girl's like, no. She's like, it's raining. And like pokes him in the heart. And he like in the chest, like just lightly. And he's like, ow, you poked my heart. You poked my heart.
I was waiting for where the heart connection came in there.
Yeah, and he was just like, he's like backing up against the wall. He's like, you poked my heart. And the other little twin is like, are you okay? I'll have to send it to you. I'm sure other people have seen it. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is with the heart is like, so many of us are walking around with a heart wall and with heart blocks, right? With our programming and conditioning, we have this like wall around our heart that doesn't let the energy like flow through. It doesn't let that universal love flow through. And then that's where, you know, we're experiencing blocks in our lives where we're not able to connect to our intuition. We're not able to trust ourselves. We're not able to love ourselves. We're not able to feel worthy. And so it really, it does come from that place. And when we do the healing work, we are healing the heart and working on the heart. And once you do heal the heart, it sends out, the ripples, and then everything around you, when you do the work, everything around you is affected. So that's what I was trying to say in my intro. And it's true, because there's no way that it can't, that everything around you in your reality can't be affected. When you do the inner work and you change your inner landscape or raise the frequency of it, just, I mean, that's the quantum physics of it, baby. That's where you come in. But like it's radiated or it's reflected out, and it has no other choice but to shift. So then your partner shifts, or your friends, or your family, or sometimes they don't exist in your reality anymore either, and that's possible too. Yeah. But there is a shifting. But I do feel called to share the story that kind of came through today about some heart stuff too. So I went with my beautiful friend yesterday to go sit in the cold waterfalls. And I've talked about her before, probably earlier in the podcast, that Lucia's is the girl that does light language. So, and that's also something that's recently come through more heavily for me as well as for you. So we'll be talking more about that on the podcast at some point too. But anyways, so yesterday morning, we've been kind of voice memoing back and forth. We're going to a ceremony this weekend. And as we were in the mushroom ceremony together, and we've gotten to know each other more and more as we've been in the community. And in the morning, she sent me a voice message, and the first voice message was a light language transmission. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. And I was just like taking it in. I was like, thank you. I could feel it, really appreciated it. And then we ended up meeting up and going to do the cold dip, and we hung out by the water and in the rocks and the moss, and we did a Sananga journey, and I did some energy work on her. But we got talking, and I was talking about how lately my chest has been really sore, like for months. It's been really like, I don't know, like it hurts. Like if I do yoga or stretch it, like it's just like this soreness. Yeah. And it's been becoming more and more apparent to me, where I'm like, what is it? Because it feels like a thing where it's like, I don't know how to stretch the middle of my chest.
Right. It's like an awkward part of your body to feel a sensation there.
Yeah. But I feel it when I'm like doing things, like quite a lot actually, where I'm like, whoa, like you'd think it would be something that maybe one day it got sore and then it would go away. But it's been like that for months. And I mentioned that to her, and she's like, oh, interesting. And she's like, this morning when I was doing the light language transmission for you, like, because she moves her hands and stuff with it and is moving things and coding. And she's like, my hands were like right here, like all over the heart. And I was like, whoa, that's really cool. And this morning I was sitting with my Hape. I've been sitting with Hape for a couple weeks now in the morning. And that's been an interesting journey that I can get into at another time too. But I was sitting with my Hape going into my meditation, and one of my guides came through that was Arcturian. It's like blue and very healing energy frequencies, which is also cool because in our last ceremony, Leah, who does the light language, she said when she looked at me, she seen me as like my true self, which was like this blue being at the time, blue Arcturian being. And she sent me a picture later, because at the time she was like, she was trying to like explain it, but then she found the Arcturian photo and sent it to me. Anyways, this Arcturian guide came through and took me onto one of the big ships, that's one of the big motherships that's like outside of Earth right now. And in my paid journeys, I've been going there a lot lately, and they've been showing me some things of a past life of me like living on the ship and like helping with, because it's like it's an Arcturian, I think, like Palladian type of ship, the mothership that's like outside of Earth right now, because they're helping with like the frequencies and stuff. So it showed me some in the past, some lives and stuff. I've been there, but then I was on the ship, and then all of a sudden I felt this like, I was like, I don't want to be on this ship. Like, why am I here? Like, I don't want to be on here. I'm like, I like trees and land, and I don't know, like I just had this constriction about like being on the ship. And then what I kind of got was like, well, do you want to know like why you feel that way? Like, feel into it. And I was like, okay. And then my guide, she showed me actually being on the ship and laying out on a bed. And I realized that at one point I was on the ship because I was taken to this ship. And I checked in, and it was around when I was 3 years old. I was taken and I was on the ship. And it wasn't like per se a traumatic experience, because it was like very high vibrational beings with like a lot of love. But I was like, I think I had moments of being like scared because I didn't understand. And then I felt into it more. And in the time when they took my human body, whenever it was, if it was in dream time or whatever, they implanted a crystal into my heart of healing frequencies of a higher dimensional frequency, so that when it's opened and activated, it will ripple out those frequencies. And then it came through. That's why my chest is hurting right now. It's nothing to worry about. It's because it's opening up and it's being activated.
Oh, well, that's cool.
It is really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was really cool. And then I started to think about it, and my first moment of me realizing my chest felt like that was when I was doing the linking awareness journeys, and I was doing Kundalini, and I was realizing like at the end of the day. So something activated in those linking awareness journeys to begin that. But then and then Leah was talking about how yesterday she was doing the work around my heart. So something's super
awesome.
cool. But then she had a meditation this morning, actually, because I shared that with her, where I think she accepted. She had a crystal come to her too. So really, really interesting.
Ooh, that's a cool full circle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'll learn more about what that is. And I've also been reading my gene key. So what it is for myself, it seems like something in the heart, that once it reaches a certain frequency, or it will emit a certain frequency once it's like unlocked and opened up. And I'm in the process of doing that right now. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us updated on what else comes through about that. Okay, you want to ground in?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's ground in. Okay, let's take a moment. Just place our hands on our heart. Let's take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. One deep breath in, filling your lungs all the way to the top. Pausing at the top. And let it go. Another deep breath in, filling your lungs all the way to the top. Pausing here, letting it go. Another big deep breath in, filling your lungs all the way to the top. Pausing here and letting it go. And just bring yourself gently back into this space. And enjoy this episode coming up. When I was referring to the last mushroom ceremony, this is the second part of that. And I think it's a really, really great episode. I think there's some really good little nuggets in here, some little pieces of wisdom. It's pretty cool.
Definitely, I would say it's a really cool reframe on some things because the things that we talked about in here, and I say it on the podcast, but I was like, I have never thought of it that way. So it's a cool reframe. So enjoy this episode, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Enjoy. Oh, okay. So also in the beginning, everyone like sits down, you introduce yourself, and you get a moment to express your like intent. And I was just like, yeah, like, I don't know, like my intent is I just want to feel more joy and bliss and fun in art and creation in like my life, like in my human experience. And yeah, that's kind of all I said. And we like moved on. And then it was weird because after I was like really overthinking it, and I'm like, I should have said more. I should have talked more. Like that, like my intent was so simple. Like it wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. Like it was just, it was really weird, the mental process that was going through it. But then like, and I was just telling myself like that, it was just too simple. But then I did have these, it's crazy, I guess, how the medicine brings through your intent so clearly, because once I moved through some of this other stuff, I had these moments of just like absolutely laughing, just like laughing so hard and laughing at myself and letting go of the seriousness. And it just like, it felt so simple to just like have fun and let that in. Like I'm just like, it's so simple. And then I'm thinking back to my intent and how my intent was like so simple, and it didn't need to be anything more. And just how it came through in the moments where I'm just like realizing that I'm just like laughing and I'm like having a good time. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be so heavy and so dark.
It doesn't always have to be so heavy.
No. And like,
I mean, that's like the end goal that we're trying to get to, move through the heaviness, but it doesn't mean you can't have amazing laughs in between. And yeah, I think that's a huge thing that's the most often forgotten, that it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And I mean, and there's a time and place for the heavier stuff and the dark stuff. Like there's a time and place to move our shadows. And I did do that work. Here. Yeah. But then but you can also have fun when you're moving your shadows. Yep. And you can also play and have fun in your life. Like I think I was like kind of forgetting that in my day-to-day life. Like I was just like, I need to do this. I need to do this. And it was just like so serious. I need to get it done. And it's just like, fuck, we're on this fucking flying rock through space. Like, what kind of life is this if I don't like have fun and like play in it and just like laugh? And so like, I was just having these deep belly laughs and like fully expressing myself. And I'm like, it's so simple to just let it in. Just allow the fun and allow the play. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then leading up to, and the laughing was after this, but I just wanted to mention that about my intent. But so then I'm moving through some of the stuff that's meant to come up, like the mental chatter is happening. And I over and over again just keep being shown this like portal, and my guides are standing all around the portal. And it's just like, the invitation is like, go into the portal, like go into it. And it was crazy how my body was just like, fuck no. Like I could feel myself. I was just like, don't want to. And it was just so interesting, because I'm just like, I'm being called to go in here. I trust.
What did it look like?
I'm like, how do you explain?
Did it have a color? Did it have it look like just the edge? Were you just seeing the edge, or were you seeing like a little bit of like the walls of the inside?
So it kept on happening. It was like multiple portals that I was being shown, because it was just like I was avoiding it, and it was just being like taken back to me, because it was like, I was trying to be the cow and trying to like run away from this like portal.
Nope.
And like, so a lot of like, sometimes it was just like a really like bright light where it's just like obvious this is a portal. One that came through, cause like, again, I'm getting these very ethereal, angelic visions. That's what's coming to me again. And this one was, it almost looked like, it was like sacred geometry, but it was like scales and very ethereal, kind of pastel-y, like almost like the colors, like you're looking in a prism. And it almost...
Imagining like a rainbow fish.
Yeah,
Like
very so
rainbow
much like that,
fish
but
scale.
think snake.
Oh, okay.
So then like the portal was almost like the inside of like the serpent is how it looked.
Oh, okay.
And it just kept like moving, and the invitation was like to come in, and literally like my guides are like standing around it. And it was curious because if you ask like just like everyday Mikayla, I would be like, fuck yeah, I want to go in the portal. Like, yeah, that sounds awesome. But like now that I was like, this was like real life, and I was like there, it was crazy how the resistance in my body came up. But I was like, fuck no. I was like, I'm not going in there. Like I literally had my heels dug in and my hands out, and I'm like, I'm not going. And then it just like, just the portal in many different ways. It's just being shown. It's just being like, I feel like I'm being like pushed into it. And I just had this awareness like, okay, I'm scared. Like I'm scared to go in that portal. Like I'm scared. And now is a time to ask for help. I'm being called to go into the portal. That's my next part of this journey. And there's fear that is blocking me, and I'm aware of that. And also leading up to this point, I'm kind of bouncing around because like I'm trying to remember it all the best I can, and then other points come up. Leading up to this point, I had a lot of moments of realizing how I can move energy through my body, which I already knew, but it was like a new thing of unlocking it, because I would have these moments where I'm going through some discomfort in the body. I feel like there's something stuck in my body, and I just want to yell out for help. Like I just want the space holders to come and move it for me and help me. And it was interesting because like I definitely, like they were always there. Like I definitely could have asked them to, but then I had a resistance to say it. And I had this moment where these like faces showed up and my guides showed up, and they're just like, you can do it. Like nobody, and like the bigger picture lesson, they're like, nobody is coming to save you, my child. Like you're here to save yourself. Like no one can come and rescue you. Like, of course they can come and do things, but this is about you making a choice to save yourself and not outsourcing your being savedness elsewhere or external, or it coming externally. Like this is about you choosing to save yourself and rescue yourself, and nobody else can do it. It's just like, you can't rescue anyone. You can't save anyone, because there's moments too while you're in that room with everyone else where you feel like you want to help or save someone else and you can't, because it's not, you just can't, intuitively that you're not supposed to, as well as you're asked not to, because it's their process. But it was like, for me, it's just like, it was a huge lesson. In the last one, I asked for help, or I needed help in certain areas, and I had to move through being allowed to have help. And now it was just like, no one is coming to save you, and had a greater meaning to that. It's just like, in my life, I needed to make the choice to save myself and do the work. And then it was like, use your tools. What do you have? And I was like, okay. So I just intuitively felt, and I just started moving things through my body for myself and taking out the things that needed to be gone. And it was amazing to watch that come through and feel into that. But then up to the fear of going through the portal, if there was a big block here, there was this fear was in the way, and I didn't know how to use it or how to move it. And it was time to ask for help. So I got up and I walked over to one of the beautiful space holders, and I sat in front of her, and she's like, what's up? And we had this moment, and we just like chatted. And I don't remember all of it, but I remember being like, there's a fear coming up, a fear of what's next, a fear of expansion. And she's like, okay. And she got her beautiful oil or water or whatever it was. put it on my face, did like the energy work of just like holding me, and then like also standing up and just whatever. She opened something to like move through, and I could feel it. I could feel it moving through. So I just was like, yep. And I just started using my hands to just move the energy and let everything that needed to come through just move through me, and just really working with the energy and moving it on up. And that, I mean, it opened something. It moved the fear. It fully like opened my channel, and fully welcomed in my divinity into my body. Like those blocks that had been in my body were completely moved. And now that life force energy was moving through me. And it was interesting because my process with the portal and everything that was coming up, and like my guides, and even accessing 12th dimensional energy, I've been talking about the mental chatter and the self-limiting beliefs, or just like the thoughts that are always trying to categorize things. And I noticed, I had this awareness that I kept telling myself that like I'm not special. Like I don't deserve to go through that portal, or there's other things that I also would keep saying to myself, like something would come up and I'd be like, that doesn't matter. Like I would like tell myself my feelings don't matter, instead of just like feeling some of my emotions, because I'd maybe feel like it was like lower density, and I'd be like, that doesn't matter. So now I would like became very aware of the self-talk of telling myself I don't matter and I'm not special. And I even have a lot of resistance to talking about some of this stuff. And I've talked about that before in some of our previous episodes, talking about the angelic realms and the angelic energy, because I feel like, who am I to say that I have access to that? Like, who does that make me? It makes me feel like I'm someone who's not humble, or I'm bragging, or I'm like, oh, look at me. Like, I'm so cool. Like, look what I can do. Like, I'm better than you. So I kept telling myself, you're not special, and you're not the chosen one. This is interesting because I was recently listening to a podcast of two people that are in this realm that are very well respected, and I really respect them and enjoy listening to them. And they were talking about in medicine ceremonies or the spiritual community, when people can believe that when people think they're the chosen one, and how that can be an issue, or when they think that they're Jesus, and that can be an issue. And I mean, clearly, yes. Like, clearly, yes. Like, when you think that you're on top and you're better than everyone else, and everyone is supposed to follow you, and you're the only chosen one, I do see that as a concern. But for me, it was interesting because I felt like, because my guides are telling me, like, child, go through this portal. And I'm just like, I'm not the chosen one. I can't go through this portal. I'm just like, I'm not better than everyone else. Or like, I'd say things like, I'm not special. I'm not special to accept this. And I would start in my mind, like, well, everyone else is special. Like, I'm just as special as everyone else. Everyone else is special. And I would kind of like, again, outsource it or put it externally focused on everyone else. And then it came through so strong, just like, no, you do matter, and your gifts do matter, and you are special, and you are the chosen one. But I am the chosen one of my own divinity. We are all the chosen ones of our own divinity.
What do you mean by that?
We all have our own timeline. We all have our own path, and we are the chosen ones for our own path.
Okay.
So me accepting my own divinity does not deny another's divinity.
Yeah.
Because at the root of me, I don't believe that I'm better than anyone else. And me accepting my own divinity and my own destiny does not make me better, but I am the chosen one for my own destiny, and you're the chosen one for your own destiny, and everyone who's listening is the chosen one for their destiny.
I don't think I've ever thought about it that way. I don't think I've ever thought about it that way.
Yeah. Me either until now.
I'm into it though.
And then so with that,
I'm into it.
You have the choice to claim it. You have the choice to claim your divinity. And when we choose to, through realizing it and choosing to claim it and to own our divinity, we unlock the portals and the codes and activate our own DNA sequences.
Yeah, it's like the way that I'm seeing it is your higher self did lay out this divine path for you ahead of time. And there are, we do have the choice of the timelines that we walk in our incarnations, and there is a highest path for us. And not everyone always walks their highest path for their entire life or for any of their life.
The fate versus the destiny path, right? Sorry, keep going.
Oh, I don't, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Just the way I see it is there are multiple timelines that we can be living in, and there is the highest expression of that, and there is a highest timeline that we can live. But not everyone chooses it, but it is the most divine timeline because it was created by our highest aspect of ourselves, by our soul, and
our soul created it.
And so so that is your divinity, and that's your divine path, and you were created specifically to be able to walk that path, and you do have to choose it.
Yeah. And what's so interesting about this is not very long ago, maybe I think a week before the ceremony, I went to Pam, who was a space holder before and is a very powerful energy worker. She held a gathering, and at her gathering, we spoke about what peak self-love looks like peak self-love, and choosing ourself, what it looks like to choose ourselves, and also choosing our ideal timeline. And we did a beautiful guided journey into our own timeline, but then talking about what it is to choose your ideal timeline over and over again. And I feel like that's choosing your destiny. That is choosing the timeline of being the chosen one for your destiny. Because the thing is, of your own destiny, no one else can be the chosen one in that story except for you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
There is no true competition.
Yeah. And I feel like I was denying my own divinity because I thought if I accepted my divinity, it meant that I was saying that other people weren't, which is not true. Like, we all carry this divineness within us and have access to this. It's just if we choose that timeline, if we choose our divinity, if we choose to accept our divinity and welcome it as part of us.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because once I moved through that and that I deserved to feel my own divinity and accept my own divinity, Spirit moved through me and through my body in a way that I've never felt before, and in a way that I cannot explain. I don't know if I'll ever be able to explain it, but my channel was fully opened, and Spirit moved through me in a way where I was not thinking anymore. The mental chatter had left and I was only feeling. And moving with and feeling that divine flow move through me and move me, physically move me. And what after that, I had such a profound realization of just like my medicine, and I am special. My unique blueprint is special, but that doesn't take away from how special you are and your unique blueprint and your unique medicine and everyone else that was there and their unique blueprint and their unique medicine and the space holders, and extended beyond that into like our families and our partners and everyone. We all have our unique blueprint and our unique medicine. And it's about, as humans, we like to categorize good and bad and put things in a hierarchical system, but moving into the new paradigm, we're moving out of a hierarchical system. We're moving into heterarchy, and further than that, we're moving into full synergy. And how I view this is just a web of us all holding each other. It's a web. It's not a pyramid anymore. It's a web of us all connecting and sharing our divine blueprint, our divine medicine, our divine gifts, all in unison and all in synergy of supporting the same cause and moving into this new paradigm.
Yeah.
And I'm so here for that, because I can't wait to see and activate your medicine, not saying it's not activated, but just as an example, and this person's medicine and everyone else that was there in that ceremony. And because we're all here to support and guide each other, but we all have our unique blueprint, our unique medicine, and we're all the chosen ones of our own destiny. And now is the time to claim our destiny and move into our ideal timeline and accept our divinity.
In what way, when you actually felt your divinity moving through you, how did that feel different from some other previous glimpse of moment in time where you're like dancing, or, we all have these glimpses of moments where we feel really connected and you really feel like things are moving through you. Like, do you feel like you could describe at all how that moment felt different than those other times?
I wouldn't say that the divinity wasn't flowing through me in other times when I was dancing and stuff, because it's very much there. Your divinity is always within yourself, but there was like some type of block of flow. For me, what happened is my channel was fully opened in this moment in a way that my channel had never been fully opened before. My body was fully opened to be used in a channel that had never been used before. And through that, even though I've been doing the inner work and I know a lot of the time what I'm here for, I was able to deepen my experience with like my purpose and why I'm here, and have it come through as a feeling instead of a thinking or a should be doing. It was just a feeling that came through and moved me. And a lot of the journey was this, just feeling spirit move through me and my divinity flow through me, and not caring what that looked like to everyone else around me, accepting this part, laughing at myself, engaging with others. And I'm not going to go into fully what that looked like or fully how that happened, because I feel like there's something very special about this experience that is meant for me and everyone that was there. And that exactly how that looks feels like that's just meant to stay there in that space, because there is the other thing. And I've talked about this and felt into this about sharing about plant medicine ceremonies and this ceremony, because it is a very, very, very sacred space. And a lot of it, I mean, each person can feel into their individual experience, but I feel like a lot of it is meant to stay there in a way. And I can only speak to my own experience. Everyone else's experience is their own individual experience, and I don't have the right to speak on that. I'm only speaking to what happened through my own experience, because it is a really sacred space, a really vulnerable space. It's a very vulnerable space where we're allowing the deepest parts of ourselves to be exposed or to come through, to have this healing in ceremony, in community with each other. So, but I had a very beautiful, profound moment of connecting to some really deep soul parts of really who I am and why I'm here and what it feels like to fully allow and open up my channel to that divinity. And I had some really beautiful moments of connecting there with some soul star sisters that we've lived other lives together in different planetary systems. And we've come here to seed the light in our own unique divine way. And so, and that soul remembrance was so beautiful too. Like, I remember just being absolutely overwhelmed with emotion through this whole experience, because it's just like something just clicked and unlocked and opened and moved. And it was a new level of accepting myself and knowing myself and loving myself, and also allowing myself to be held and loved by others in this piece of me that maybe in other settings I would be too scared or nervous to let open, which is probably why there had been a block there for that to be fully expressed. But now I was fully expressing myself in my full divinity, in my full soul remembrance and knowing. And I was also dancing and laughing and letting the energy move through me and laughing at myself, because it was also funny. And it was also like, this is fucking crazy. And it was so beautiful and profound. And I thank everyone that was there to observe and witness me and hold the space. And I just thank them for being themselves, because it was just so cool to be there in ceremony with each of those unique individual souls. After driving home from the gathering with Pam, which was also deeply activating, to like be put on your ideal timeline. Like, we're on our ideal timelines. And I was on the way home and an owl flew into my truck. Like, it flew into it and just like, and I was like, oh my God, I just hit an owl. Like, but it like literally flew at me. And I was just like devastated, because I like hit this owl, and like I look at the song that's playing at the time, and the song was Spirit Bird at the time that I hit the owl. And then
holy shit,
the only feather I have and use in my home is an owl feather, which is, I don't know. It's just crazy. It was just so wild. And I was just like, I can't believe that happened. And I even kind of like messaged Pam and was like, I just hit this owl. Like, I can't believe it. And she's like, feel into this timeline for you. Feel into this timeline, because it feels like an energy exchange. And I did. And it's like, this owl offered itself to me. It was an energy exchange of its spirit. It was an energy exchange for my transformation and my change. And in honor of me, and also like I deeply, deeply honor this bird that chose to do this, but it's just like, wow. And like, I think even when I talk about that, I have some resistance and like, oh, like, what do you mean? Like, a bird gave its life for you? Like, who do you think you are? But it's like, it's not just me. This is what co-creating in our reality and choosing our timelines looks like. Is like, everything is energy, and we are all connected, and we all have support and help, and the animal kingdom or our guides or whatever are here to support us on our journeys in whatever way. But this was like such a profound moment that I had never experienced before. And this moment of this energy exchange was also, after my first ceremony, was preparing me for this ceremony, was preparing me for this transformation. Yeah, and like owls, they symbolize inner wisdom, good luck, transformation, change, intuitive development, and self-actualization. And they also they can symbolize death. And some people are afraid of them because they can represent death. And that was kind of the thing that came up with me owning an owl feather, because I was gifted this feather a while ago, and it was the only feather I had. But I have heard controversial feelings around owning an owl feather because of the owl predicting death. But the owl feather is part of my medicine, because we're not really living if we're not dying. Because to be in transformation, we're in a state of constantly changing. We're in a state of constant death and rebirth. Like, to alchemize the shadow or to do the healing work, there's a piece of you that is dying and a piece of you that is being reborn.
Yeah. Constantly.
If we choose to be, or we can stay where we are and nothing changes. But if we choose the path of our destiny, of our ideal timeline, chances are you're going to be presented with opportunities to die and let go of your old self. So yeah, I thought that was pretty fucking cool of that owl. And I'm very, very deeply honored and grateful that I got to experience and witness that energy exchange in the way that I did. And the owl showed up for me in my journey. The spirit of that owl came to me, and it was very prominent and prevalent throughout my journey. I very often seen these owl eyes that were just watching me.
Really? Wow.
So, thank you, owl.
What'd he say? Was he
super and this is too where I learned on this journey of where this gets to be fun and playful and invite joy in, because it's like I'm excited to like co-create with this owl now moving forward and weaving our medicine together and having fun with it and playing with the spirit of the owl and the energy of the owl and like, what does that look like now? But yeah, just super cool. And that's also like an example of, you can't make this shit up. Like, once you choose the path of your destiny or choose the path of yourself, however that looks, and it's a process. Like, I feel like I've made the choice and been on this journey for a few years now, and it's a process. But once you choose yourself and show up for yourself, the way that your reality starts to reflect that and the synchronicities that happen they're saying that you can't make it up and you can't explain it.
No. You know, I was thinking when you were talking before about like how, also kind of what we were saying before about your soul's highest path and how your highest timeline or the divinity that you can step into, it is the reason that we are incarnated is because that was our soul's desire to grow and to expand. And I was thinking about what you said about how we can choose to stay the same and we do have that free will to an extent. But there is this whole piece of remembering that you, which is your higher self, that did lay out this intent for your time on Earth to evolve. And there is this other piece of the, you know, the physics of consciousness, of the constant expansion. And I'm thinking, and which is why our, like, because then I was just thinking, like, why do our souls want to evolve in the first place? And it's like the second law of thermodynamics, which is that entropy is always increasing, which means that it's kind of just things, basically another way of saying that systems are always evolving into a more chaotic state, a more complex state. Some system is always evolving. And yeah, I guess just the higher aspect explanation for kind of really what was just coming to me was about the fact that it is our soul's desire to expand, and that is built into our blueprint in a way. No,
well, yeah,
it is.
It is. I mean,
it is.
A lot of us, most of us, maybe all of us, I don't know, came here to evolve our souls, wherever you are on a soul level, or what.
Right, exactly. That's your soul's, that's what your soul wants.
Yeah, and so that's becomes the curriculum of life, right? The life experience. And then it's how we choose to move through the experience that like determines I guess our timeline or whatever. And then it comes down to repeating the same patterns and avoiding the opportunities, or facing what it is and breaking the cycle of the pattern and moving on and pursuing our soul's evolution. And we always have the choice. And it does come down to it's fate versus destiny.
What do you mean by that?
I have this one oracle card that speaks about,
because I'm not sure, like, on right now, like, I'm not sure if I know the difference between fate and destiny. In my mind, they're the same thing. It.
Just to get like a clear idea of like the actual like words.
Let me tune in.
Okay. Fate. The development of events beyond a person's control. Regarded as determined by a supernatural power. So, quote, fate decided, quote unquote, fate decided his course for him. So it's like, as an example, when someone's like, oh, like in the movie, he met his fate when, you know, like he died or something. Just like as an example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Destiny, the events that will necessarily happen to a particular person or thing in the future, the hidden power believed to control what will happen in the future. So, I mean, I think some people could think that destiny and fate are the same thing. But how I see it is fate can be, if you keep yourself in the same patterns of your life that your subconscious projects from your programming and conditioning, you will just land yourself in your fate. But your destiny, like, does that make sense? But your destiny,
it's fine.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, no. Say the other thing. I'm having all these kind of like physicsy visions, like mathy visions.
But your destiny is when you choose your ideal timeline and your purpose, and you pursue it, is how I see it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like the way that we try to understand physics and astrophysics and the evolution of things is we plug something into some equation as a function of time. And in that sense, there should be a predictability to it. Like assuming that you plug XYZ into this equation and then it proceeds to give you the same result. There is a formula. There's a formula to it. And when I see fate, I almost actually think of astrology when I think about fate, and I see these lines intersecting, and I see it the way that things evolve as, you know, in terms of cycles, and there's a predictability to it. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
I see it and feel it like that too. But I'm gonna grab my oracle card real quick because it like explains it well. The card is I remember, soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life.
Oh,
this is what it looks like. So I'll read it out. There was a moment before you were born where you chose the conditions of your life you're living right now. When you plotted out these exact moments along the timeline of your life, we live in a world of free will, and therefore these moments become our destiny only through saying yes. The fated life is the one we were born into. The destiny life is the one our soul chooses, and it takes courage and faith. If you pull this card, it's because you're likely now face to face with the choice to follow the destiny life over the fated life, to trust the path your soul is calling you toward, and to remember that this moment was prearranged on your life's timeline. You may find yourself at a crossroads, at a moment when you're being called to make a decision, to keep walking the perfectly laid out path before you, or choose the one less traveled. You may be facing a change of career, a new relationship, a difficult decision, or something else that requires courage and faith. You're being invited to remember your soul's greater plan and to surrender to it. When you're confronted with a path that's undefined, it's normal for doubt to rear its head. In fact, that is a certain sign that you're facing your soul's greater plan. Every hero in his or her life journey comes eye to eye with doubt. The only way around it is through it. It's all part of the larger plan. What are you being called to do to surrender to your soul's plan?
Ooh, that's a good card.
It's a great card and explains it very well.
Yeah, that explains it really well. It also makes me think about the fact that, we're never guaranteed to wake up in this lifetime. It's an accomplishment that we have woken up in this lifetime, because it's difficult to do. Yeah. So, that kind of is also what comes to mind as like fate versus destiny, or the destiny path is, waking up and choosing something different.
Yeah. And, this is my invitation to those that are listening to choose yourself. And what does it feel like to choose yourself and to walk the path of your own destiny and accept your own divinity and choose your ideal timeline. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be challenging or that it's easy, but you don't have to go it alone. And it also gets easier and easier as you choose yourself every time. And as you cultivate that inner reality of what you want to, how you want to feel, it does reflect yourself in your outer reality. And yeah, it's an experience and it's a journey and it's a process. And I'm still moving along my journey, but that's also where we get to invite in play and fun and joy and art, and get to be human beings and live through it, and then just get to be held in the trust of, of God, of the universe.
Yep.
Or creator, source, whatever works for you or whatever doesn't work for you. But we have access to that. And then and also you're doing a disservice by not sharing your medicine, your unique blueprint, just like my unique blueprint and Alyssa's unique blueprint is needed right now. So like, if you feel the call, I invite you to dive in, to dive into creating that relationship with your divinity and with your soul, and leaning into what it feels like to listen to the call and follow that, even if it doesn't always make sense or your brain can't compartmentalize it or lay it out in a perfect way that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. The journey is beautiful, and you don't have to do it alone. Like, as you say yes to your calling and yes to your journey and yes to your ideal timeline, your people will find you. Your tribe will find you. Your community will find you. You don't have to do it alone. And our unique blueprint and our unique gifts and our unique medicine is here to help each other, to support each other.
Yeah.
As we move through this, because we it is intense right now. Like as empaths and starseeds, we can feel the intensity of what it's like to be on Earth right now. So how can we make it more fun and bring in more play and enjoy the journey? But just even if you're in a place where maybe you're at a crossroads and you just need to say, or you're at a place where it's your choice to say yes to the journey. Yeah. What does it look like to say yes and choose yourself and choose your ideal timeline? Because if you feel the calling, that is your divine blueprint. And there's something so, so beautiful in that journey, and so, so beautiful waiting for you and answering that call. And you have the capacity and you are capable of it. And not only that, but it is your destiny to fulfill that. It's only a matter of coming down to the choice. Do you claim your destiny? Do you claim your divinity?
Yeah. Yep. Gotta ask yourself. So I guess I wanted to ask quickly before we wrap, like, how do you feel your day-to-day life and thought processes throughout the day have shifted in this time since this first ceremony and since this other ceremony, even though it's pretty recent? Like,
Yeah. Well, it's only Monday today, and I journeyed on Friday night, didn't get home until Saturday afternoon. So
I guess I'm more so referring to the first one.
Yeah. So I haven't had a lot of time yet. But the first one, I feel like I was being ripped apart. I said that. It was a lot of pressure in the body. A lot was happening. It felt like my body was trying to keep up in the shift of frequency. And so just a lot was happening.
That makes sense.
And this time so far, like the day after, I felt a lot more energized, because I also, right after the last time, like I had a hard time. Like my head really hurt. My body needed a lot of rest, which is fine. My body needed rest this time too, but it was like I feel like the feeling is different now, even with some of the things that have transformed and shifted and happened for me, of just feeling intuitively into what is in my highest and best right now, instead of placing so much should on myself. Yeah. Because like at the end of the day, my to-do list is pretty long. Like there's a lot of things that I should, quote unquote, should be doing. But like, I also have to, part of this journey is I have to take care of myself, and I have to play and invite in joy. So like, what is in my highest and best at this time? What is the priority? So since going into this, my intent was to bring in play and fun and joy and art and creation for the rest of the weekend. My intent was just to rest when I needed to rest, and invite in that play, and not rush to all the things so quickly that I needed to do. And then when I do get to doing those things, invite more of that play and joy and pleasure even into those things. So I was letting myself, I think, be guided and driven by a different energy, more of that life force energy inside of me than opposed to a should be doing this energy, which feels very, very, very different. So like when I got home, I don't remember if I napped that. Well, actually, we ended up going to bed pretty early and slept in. And then I got up, we had breakfast. So this was like the Sunday after. And by like 12:30, I was tired again. So I laid in bed and I just slept, and I slept for another like 2-3 hours, and then went to bed and I let myself sleep in again today, because like when I feel into it, my body just needs sleep and rest, because like I didn't sleep barely at all that night when I was going through that journey. And that's just what my body needed. And then today I just felt into intuitively, where am I guided and where do I want to go? So there is still things that I want to get done, but it feels like it's a different energy, because I feel like I'm being like guided to it from a place of genuinely wanting to do it, rather than placing this expectation or judgment of should on myself.
Yeah, like you're letting your intuition lead the way.
Yeah.
In a non-judgmental way.
Yeah, and then just trusting. And it felt like I let go of a lot of anxiety and the control of it. And feeling a little bit more like, if it's meant to work out, it will work out. If it's meant to be this way, it will be this way, and everything will work itself out, as long as I allow myself to follow my inner guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, we'll see how that transpires over the next few days, weeks, months, years. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. And again, I would like to thank the beautiful space holders and facilitators in this space, because, you know, they make this possible. They make this possible by bringing their beautiful medicine for us to all journey through. And they hold the space so well, and all individually. Like I know individually what they each bring and how like beautiful and powerful that is in different ways. And just their willingness to hold the space and be in service and facilitate the space too. Because even just like I said before, we call in the 4 directions and do our prayer in that way, and just the way that they are able to stand so strong in that and bring through the energy that needs to come through, and bring through those reminders and that remembrance for our soul is so, so powerful. And it's what makes the space in these journeys what it is.
Yeah.
So deep gratitude and an honoring to them and their work. And then just gratitude as well to all the souls that were in the space with me, because we're all co-creating together. We're all contracted and meant to be there perfectly. We're all like, none of it is completely individual. It's not individual or separate. We're doing it together. We're doing the work together. Our personal experience may feel different. It may bring up different things, but it's all a beautiful creation of us weaving together. And us being contracted to be there in that moment. So thank you to all those beautiful souls that I was able to connect with, and also held the space, because we're also holding space for each other and our experiences while we're there too. And yeah,
definitely.
And thank you to our soul audience and everyone that's listening to us and listening to my experience through this, because we're so appreciative of you and love you so much. Thank you to that owl that offered itself to me in this divine expression of transformation. And thank you to you, my co-host, who holds space and listens and is here. And we're very much co-creating and weaving a lot together these days. So
yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
But yeah, and that's about it from me. Unless you have any questions.
No, I think I'm good. I wanted to touch on that last one, just see what you had to say about that. Yeah. No, that was awesome. And definitely got me thinking a lot. Definitely got my wheels spinning. And yeah, I also have some integration to do as per usual. Thank you so much for being here, and please make sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube at the Orphic Podcast. All these episodes are up with video versions on YouTube. And, please give us a rating and review if you're listening right now. We really appreciate it. And I'm on Instagram at interdimensional.astrophysics.
Yeah. And I'm on Instagram at Mariposa Moonchild. Please subscribe to us and give us a like, comment, or a review on any of the platforms. It really helps us out. As well as if you're interested in diving into your own container of self-healing and alchemizing in a container of support and guidance, I am opening up spaces for my Metamorphosis program, which is a one-on-one immersive deep dive self-healing transformational program. It's a really, really beautiful container. So if you're interested in working one-on-one with me, please reach out to me and we can connect and see if it's the right fit for both of us. But anyone who resonates with that, I invite you in to feel into that and to connect with me. And I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you again, and we will see you next time. Bye.